book lovers! It is G-Swizz here, and I am here today to do a Top 5 Wednesday. If you didn't know, Top 5 Wednesday is now hosted by Sam at Thoughts on Tomes. I will link the channel and the Goodreads page down in the description so you can check them out. And today's Top 5 Wednesday topic will be your top 5 favorite books that you've read so far in 2018. So 2018 has been a very interesting year to me. I've definitely given some books some really good ratings this year, but there's like not that many that have stood out to me. I mean, I've already read like 100 books this year. I know I'm a maniac, and so it feels weird because I should have heaps to choose from. But at the same time, it was hard to pick and choose because as much as I've read a lot, not every single one of the ones that I've given high ratings really did impact me, and so that is what I'm basing this video on. Every single one of these 5 books have impacted me in some sort of way, and I will be sharing them with you guys. And also another funny thing was, literally barely of my highly anticipated releases of the year came out in the first half of this year, and I'm waiting for them to come out in the second half so that I can have an amazing second half of the reading year. But right here, right now, we will be focusing on the second half. We will be delving into the past a bit, and I will be talking about my top 5 favorite books that I've read so far this year. So first of all, we will be talking about the only contemporary on this list. It is a really good contemporary. I strongly recommend it because it impacted me so much, and that, my friends, is Wing Jones by Katherine Weber. This was a cover buy, guys. You know, one day I was just walking into Dimmicks and I picked this book up off the shelf and like, hey, this is a pretty cover. I'm picking this book up. Little did I know that this book would impact me as much as it did. Oh my goodness, it was so good. It had amazing biracial representation, but not only that, it had such an amazing representation of grief. This is a book that you can't read in public because you will cry your eyes out, because that's what I did. Every single time I was on the bus and I was reading this book, I was just trying to hold back tears and I couldn't hold back tears. This book was just so authentic. It was so real. And if you don't only love hard-hitting contemporaries, but you love contemporaries that have an amazing family presence, I would strongly recommend this contemporary as it's got a very good family presence in here. Oh my goodness, I still have a bookmark in here. I literally get majority of my bookmarks from the Book Depository. I miss the coloring in ones though, let's be real. As much as I loved having this book on my shelf for aesthetic reasons, I'm so happy I gave it a chance and actually took the time and picked it up because it was just so impactful. It was amazing, and I would highly recommend this contemporary if you want a good cry, as well as if you want a good impactful story. The next book I have in my top 5 is so funny because it's actually not rated 5 out of 5 stars in my book, only because it's literally meant to be a bridge for the next part of the series. But I had to put it on my list because it definitely did impact me to the point that I cannot contain it at all. I really loved this book, but I don't know what to rate it because this previous book is just so amazing and that wasn't meant to be a bridge book. Honestly, I'm so conflicted, but at the same time, it really did impact me, so I have to include it on this list, and that is Restore Me by Tahereh Mafi. This is the 4th book in the Shatter Me series, and if you have read this installment in the series, you know exactly how I'm feeling right now. It's another book that takes place in this world, and we're following these characters. Almost everything in here was perfection in my opinion. I just love this book so much because of that, and I can't give it a 5 out of 5 stars because I don't feel like it was full enough to satisfy me because I'm still waiting on the next book in the series. Honestly, Tahereh, this cliffhanger was killer. I need the next book right now. So I feel like this book has to be on my top 5 list because of the Shatter Me nostalgia, but also the direction in this series. I'm really enjoying the direction, and I cannot wait to see what's next in store for the series. Literally, I cannot wait. I need it now. The third book that is on my top 5 today, book lovers, will be Firefight by Sanderson, the 2nd book in the Reckoners trilogy. This book left me hanging. I was so gripped, I was so engrossed, I was so engaged. This sequel, this follow-up to Steelheart, like Steelheart was good enough. But then we got Firefight. I needed to know what happened next after Steelheart, and this delivered. I can't talk about it without spoiling it, but at one point I did kind of shed a tear. Like, I didn't sob, but I shed a tear because I was so anxious as to what was going to happen next, especially to a particular character. And I'm so happy that things somewhat worked out in this book so that Calamity could happen. Calamity was not really the strongest conclusion at all because Firefight was just so strong. I'm not saying at all that I didn't like Calamity, but I do have to say Firefight was literally lit. The title, you know, pun, yeah, get it? No? Okay, I'm horrible at this. And the 4th book I have to mention on this list today will be a comic book. It's my favorite comic book I've read so far this year, and that is The Runaways Volume 1, Find Your Way Home by Rowell and Chris Anka. Now, don't get me wrong, I do love the other comic books that I read this year, especially the Guardians of the Galaxy ones, but I seriously love this one so much because Rowell did these characters justice. It's another Rowell book. Like, if you actually read into it, it's like Rowell's writing, but it's all graphic and it's so great. I don't know. I felt the Rowell nostalgia. It's been a long time since I've read a Rowell book. I used to love Rowell's books. I mean, not as much as I loved John Green, but her books would kind of get me through my John Green hangovers, and I appreciated her books for that. And there are a lot of people out there that want her to go back to writing contemporary, but after reading this, I came to the conclusion that I just want her to write more comics because she's just so good at it. I love following these characters and I'm so excited for volume 2, guys. And the final book that I have to mention on my top 5 today, book lovers, will be a surprise to no one. Are you surprised? That is right, Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I love this book with a fiery, burning passion. At the time I read this, it had been a long time since I was very invested in a fantasy world. It literally had a first book that was thick with 2 C's. Like, I was so intimidated by this book, but I'm so happy I read it. Oh man, I could get emotional about this. My experience reading this was just so amazing. It was so heartwarming, but at the same time, so emotionally taxing. I loved the experience of reading Children of Blood and Bone. I love that I read it during the superhero fun as well, because it's just an experience that I would never, ever forget. This book is amazing. I highly recommend it to every single person that hasn't picked this book up yet. Like, please read it, and if you have read it, just reread it. I need to reread it as well. Why? I'm preaching to myself right now. So I guess that's gonna be it for this Top 5 Wednesday today, book lovers. If you want to purchase any of the books that I mentioned in this video today, all the Book Depository purchase links will be down in the description, so you can check them out, you can purchase them, and you can help me out by doing so. And I also have social medias. I'm at G-Swizzelbooks on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm also at Goodreads. That's www.goodreads.com/gswizzle. I love you, book lovers, and I will see you later. Peace.